A woman once stood at her window after midnight, holding a phone that had not rung, looking at a door that had not opened, waiting for a message that never came. The room was quiet, but her heart was louder than thunder. She had prayed for weeks, not one casual prayer, not one rushed prayer. She had cried in the darkness until her eyes burned. She had raised her hands when everyone in the house was asleep. She had whispered to Allah the kind of pain she could never explain to people, because people would either judge it, minimize it, or turn it into gossip. And that night, when nothing changed, she broke. She said, "Allah, did you hear me?" Then suddenly, something strange happened. Not a miracle in the sky, not a voice from the unseen, not the thing she was begging for, just a calmness. A small, gentle calmness entered her chest, as though someone had placed a soft hand over a wound that had been bleeding for too long. The problem was still there. The person was still gone. The answer had not arrived. But for the first time in many nights, she did not feel abandoned. And that is where many people misunderstand dua. They think acceptance only means the door opens immediately. They think acceptance only means the person returns, the money arrives, the disease disappears, the marriage happens, the job offer comes, the court case ends, the family changes, the sadness leaves forever. But sometimes the first sign your dua is being accepted is not that Allah changes the situation. Sometimes the first sign is that Allah changes what the situation is doing inside you. Because when Allah wants to give you something, He may first prepare you to receive it. And when Allah wants to protect you from something, He may first detach your heart from it. And when Allah wants to raise you, He may first make you patient in a place where patience feels impossible. My beloved sister, my beloved brother, if you have been making dua and you are asking, is Allah listening? Then listen carefully. Allah does not need your voice to be loud in order to hear you. Allah does not need your words to be perfect in order to understand you. Allah does not need you to explain the full story, because He knew the story before you had the strength to speak it. The tear that falls before the sentence is complete is already understood by Allah. The pain you carry in silence is already known by Allah. The request you are too ashamed to tell people is not hidden from Allah. But here is the powerful truth. Sometimes Allah answers in a way that your wounded heart does not recognize yet. Sometimes He gives, sometimes He delays. Sometimes He replaces. Sometimes He protects. Sometimes He removes the desire itself, because the thing you were begging for was carrying a harm you could not see. So do not measure Allah's love by the speed of the answer. Measure it by the wisdom behind the answer. Because the one who taught you to call upon Him did not teach you dua so He could ignore you. The very fact that you are still turning to Allah is already mercy. The very fact that your heart still says, Allah help me, after everything you have been through is already a sign that you have not been thrown away. Some people suffer and run from Allah. Some people are tested and become bitter. Some people are delayed and become arrogant. But you, even with a broken heart, still returned. You still raised your hands. You still whispered His name. You still believed there was a door above all doors. That itself is not small. That itself is not ordinary. That itself may be one of the first beautiful signs that your du'as are being accepted. The first beautiful sign is that Allah keeps pulling your heart back to Him, even after disappointment tries to pull you away. Do you understand how powerful that is? There are people who receive blessings and forget Allah. There are people who receive comfort and forget Allah. There are people who have money, family, beauty, health, attention, and worldly success, yet their hearts are dry, distracted, and distant. But you, in your pain, are being called back. You might think your duha is only about getting what you asked for, but Allah may be using that duha to give you something even greater, closeness to Him. Maybe the need brought you to prayer. Maybe the heartbreak brought you to reflection. Maybe the fear brought you to repentance. Maybe the delay brought you to humility. Maybe the uncertainty brought you to tears that washed away sins you had forgotten. Tell me, if the thing you wanted came immediately, would you have spoken to Allah this deeply? Would you have stayed awake at night remembering Him? Would you have softened your heart? Would you have examined your life? Would you have realized how weak you are without Him? Sometimes the dua begins as a request for something in the world, but it becomes a rescue mission for your soul. You asked for one door to open. Allah opened the door of returning to Him. You asked for one person to love you. Allah reminded you that His love is greater than every heart combined. You asked for one problem to end. Allah began ending your dependence on the creation. This is why you must never think that a delayed answer means a rejected dua. No, sometimes a delayed answer is an honored dua, a dua kept in the care of Allah until the exact moment it will benefit you most. A child may cry because the parent takes away something sharp from their hand. The child sees loss, the parent sees protection. And we are like that in front of Allah. We cry when something is taken. We panic when something is delayed. We feel confused when a door closes. But Allah sees what we do not see. He knows the hidden poison inside what looked sweet. He knows the hidden mercy inside what looked painful. He knows the future of the thing you are begging for today. So when your heart remains connected to Allah, when you keep returning to Him, when you keep making dua even with weak words and tired eyes, do not underestimate that. It may be a sign that Allah has not left you to yourself. It may be a sign that Allah is keeping you close while He prepares the answer. The second beautiful sign your du'as are being accepted is that Allah begins removing from your heart the desperation that was destroying you. At first, you wanted it so badly that you could not breathe. You checked your phone again and again. You replayed conversations. You imagined outcomes. You asked people for advice, then asked again, then became more confused. Your heart was not just making dua. Your heart was attached, frightened, and exhausted. You thought, if I do not get this, I will never be happy. You thought, if this does not happen, my life is over. You thought, if this person leaves, I cannot survive. But then slowly, without you even noticing, something changed. You still wanted it, but it no longer owned you. You still prayed for it, but you stopped worshipping the outcome. You still hoped, but you no longer felt like your entire existence depended on one door. This is a beautiful sign, because sometimes Allah does not answer by giving you the thing immediately. Sometimes He answers by freeing you from the unhealthy attachment to it. There is a difference between asking Allah for something and making that thing your entire peace. There is a difference between wanting a blessing and believing life has no meaning without it. There is a difference between loving someone and letting that person sit on the throne of your heart where only Allah belongs. When Allah accepts your dua, He may purify the desire before He fulfills it. He may calm the desperation before He grants the blessing. He may teach your heart to say, I want this, but I need Allah more. That moment is powerful. That moment is rare, because it means your dua is no longer coming from panic alone. It is coming from trust. You are no longer saying, Allah, give me this or I am finished. You are saying, Allah, I ask you because you are generous, but I trust you because you are wise. That is a different level. That is maturity. That is faith becoming stronger than fear. And when the heart reaches this point, the answer becomes safer. Because sometimes if Allah gave us what we wanted while we were desperate, we would be ruined by it, we would become arrogant, we would forget Him, we would cling to the gift and forget the giver, we would lose ourselves in the blessing. So Allah delays until the blessing can enter your life without becoming an idol in your heart. A woman may pray for marriage, but Allah may first teach her self-worth, patience, modesty, emotional strength and reliance upon Him. A man may pray for wealth, but Allah may first teach him discipline, honesty, gratitude and responsibility. A student may pray for success, but Allah may first teach effort, focus and humility. A person may pray for healing, but Allah may first heal bitterness, resentment and hidden anger inside the heart. This is why the answer is sometimes not outside you at first. It begins inside you. You start sleeping again. You start eating again. You stop stalking what hurt you. You stop begging people to see your value. You stop blaming Allah for people's behavior. You stop saying, why me, every hour. You begin to say, Allah knows. Not with coldness, not with pretending you do not care, but with a heart that is learning to rest. My beloved, that calmness after chaos is not nothing. That strength after weakness is not nothing. That detachment after obsession is not nothing. That ability to smile again even before the problem is solved is not nothing. It may be a sign that Allah is answering the deepest part of your dua first. Because maybe you asked Allah to change your circumstances, but He first changed the heart that had to live through those circumstances. The third beautiful sign your du'as are being accepted is that Allah starts closing doors you were not strong enough to close yourself. This one is painful. This one confuses people. Because many people think acceptance means every door becomes easy. They think if a dua is accepted, the path will be smooth, the people will cooperate, the signs will be obvious, and everything will fall into place quickly. But sometimes, the sign of acceptance is the opposite. A door closes, a plan fails, someone leaves, an opportunity disappears, a conversation ends, a proposal does not move forward, a business deal collapses, a friendship becomes distant, and at first you feel wounded. You say, Allah, I prayed. Why did you take it away? But later, maybe months later, maybe years later, you see something you could not see before. You realize that what left was not a punishment, it was protection. You realize the delay saved you from a wrong direction. You realize the rejection redirected you. You realize the silence exposed someone's true character. You realize the closed door prevented a bigger heartbreak. You realize Allah was answering the part of your dua where you said, Allah, give me what is best for me. We forget that sentence. We say it, but we do not always understand what it means. When you ask Allah for what is best, you are also asking Him to block what is not best. When you ask Allah to guide you, you are also asking Him to stop you from walking into harm. When you ask Allah to bless your future, you are also asking Him to remove anything that would poison that future. So why are you surprised when Allah removes? Why are you surprised when Allah separates? Why are you surprised when Allah exposes? Why are you surprised when Allah makes something impossible after you asked Him to protect you? Some doors are not closed by enemies. They are closed by mercy. Some people are not taken from you because you were unworthy. They are taken because your soul was too valuable to be destroyed in their hands. Some delays are not delays. They are shields. Some rejections are not failures. They are redirections written by wisdom. Imagine a person rushing to catch a bus. They run, they sweat, they panic, and just as they arrive, the bus leaves. They are angry, they are frustrated, they feel cheated, but later they discover that the bus was heading toward danger. What looked like missing out was actually being saved. This is the story of many du'as. You cried because you missed it. Allah knew what you missed. You cried because they left. Allah knew what they carried. You cried because the plan broke. Allah knew what the plan would have broken inside you. My beloved sister, do not call every closed door a punishment. Do not call every failed plan humiliation. Do not call every loss the end of your story. Sometimes Allah accepts your dua by not allowing you to destroy yourself with what you wanted. This is especially important when your dua involves people, because people can look beautiful from far away and still be harmful up close. People can speak softly and still carry pride. People can promise loyalty and still disappear when sacrifice is required. People can know religious words and still lack mercy. People can impress your eyes and disturb your peace. So if you prayed and then Allah began showing you red flags, do not ignore them. If you prayed and then the truth started appearing, do not cover it. If you prayed and then your heart became uneasy for a reason you could not explain, do not rush blindly. Sometimes Allah answers by revealing. Sometimes He answers by making you uncomfortable where you used to be attached. Sometimes He answers by showing you that the door you loved had darkness behind it. And yes, it hurts. Protection can hurt when your heart is attached to danger. Healing can hurt when you have become familiar with the wound. Guidance can hurt when it takes you away from what your desire wanted. But later, you may look back and say, Allah saved me when I thought He was denying me. So when doors close after dua, pause before you despair. Ask yourself, could this be Allah answering in a way I do not yet understand? Because a true dua is never wasted. It is either given, delayed, replaced, or saved for a reward greater than what you imagined. And no sincere call to Allah disappears into emptiness. The fourth beautiful sign your duas are being accepted is that Allah gives you patience without you knowing where it came from. There are moments in life when you should have collapsed, but you did not. You should have given up, but something held you. You should have lost your mind, but somehow you remained standing. You should have replied with anger, but your tongue stopped. You should have chased after someone, but your dignity remained. You should have gone back to a harmful place, but something inside you said, no more. You should have drowned in sadness, but you made it to the next morning. Where did that strength come from? Do not say, I am just strong. No, you and I are weak without Allah. The heart can break from one sentence. The mind can become tired from one worry. The soul can feel heavy from one betrayal. If Allah did not hold us, we would not be able to hold ourselves. So when you find patience in a place where your old self would have been destroyed, recognize the gift. That patience may be an answer. That endurance may be an answer. That ability to continue worshipping, working, caring for your family, protecting your modesty, guarding your tongue, and showing up in life while your heart is still healing, that may be from Allah. Many people only look for the outer answer. They say, did the job come? Did the marriage happen? Did the person return? Did the sickness disappear? Did the debt get paid? But they do not notice the inner answer. Allah gave you patience. Allah gave you emotional control. Allah gave you the ability to not become cruel because someone was cruel to you. Allah gave you the ability to not expose someone even though they exposed you. Allah gave you the ability to not lose your faith even when your eyes were full of tears. This is a magnificent gift because patience is not weakness. Patience is not sitting uselessly. Patience is not pretending pain does not exist. Patience is holding yourself in obedience to Allah while the storm is trying to drag you into disobedience. Patience is when your heart wants to scream, but your tongue chooses what pleases Allah. Patience is when you could take revenge, but you choose justice and restraint. Patience is when you do not understand the delay, but you refuse to accuse Allah. Patience is when your desire burns, but your faith says, not this way. Patience is when you still make dua after months of silence. Patience is when you still believe Allah is good to you, even before you see the outcome. Do you know how beloved that is? Do you know how powerful that is? The world celebrates quick results, but Allah raises the patient. The world notices loud victories, but Allah sees silent endurance. People may never know the battles you survived in your own room. They may never know how many times you wanted to quit. They may never know how many messages you deleted before sending. They may never know how many nights you cried quietly so nobody in the house would hear, but Allah knows. And if Allah gives you patience through it, then He has already given you something precious. Sometimes the accepted dua is not, Allah remove this test immediately. Sometimes the accepted dua is, Allah carry me through this test without losing myself. And look at you, you are still here, you are still listening, you are still trying, you are still hoping, you are still afraid of displeasing Allah, you are still trying to become better. Do not belittle that. There are people who went through less and became hard-hearted. There are people who lost less and abandoned prayer. There are people who were delayed once and became angry with Allah. But Allah kept you. Even if you stumbled, He kept calling you back. Even if you cried, He kept you from completely drowning. Even if you broke, He did not let the broken pieces become disbelief. That is mercy. That is a sign. That is a gift. So when you notice patience appearing in your heart, say to yourself, Allah is helping me. Not because the pain is easy, but because you are not carrying it alone. The fifth beautiful sign your du'as are being accepted is that Allah begins bringing unexpected openings from directions you did not plan. This is one of the most beautiful parts of trusting Allah. You think the answer must come through one person, one door, one method, one timeline, one exact path. But Allah is not limited by the path you imagined. You may be waiting for one person to help you, and Allah sends help through a stranger. You may be waiting for one company to hire you, and Allah opens a better opportunity somewhere you never applied before. You may be waiting for one relationship to heal you, and Allah heals you through solitude, knowledge, family, worship, and self-respect. You may be waiting for one apology, and Allah gives you peace without the apology. You may be waiting for one door to open, and Allah builds a road where there was no door. This is how Allah teaches the heart not to worship means. Means are important. We take action, we work, we try, we ask, we plan. But the means do not control the outcome. Allah controls the outcome. People are only doors. Allah is the opener. Money is only a tool. Allah is the provider. Medicine is only a means. Allah is the healer. Connections are only means. Allah is the one who places acceptance in hearts. When your dua is being accepted, you may begin to notice strange ease in places you did not expect. A conversation happens at the right time. Someone remembers you. A problem becomes lighter. A fear loses its power. A person who never helped before suddenly helps. A delay suddenly makes sense. A new option appears when you thought everything was finished. Or maybe the opening is not dramatic. Maybe it is small. A little strength, a little clarity, a little money, a little support, a little sleep, a little peace, a little direction. Do not dismiss small openings. Sometimes Allah sends the beginning of a huge mercy in a small form. A seed does not look like a tree. A drop does not look like an ocean. A first step does not look like a destination. But Allah grows what He wills. Many people miss the signs of acceptance because they are obsessed with the exact picture in their head. They say, Allah did not answer me, while the answer is already arriving in a different form. They asked for happiness, and Allah removed a toxic attachment. They asked for love, and Allah taught them self-respect. They asked for success, and Allah gave them discipline. They asked for peace, and Allah separated them from drama. They asked for strength, and Allah put them through a season that trained their soul. They asked for guidance, and Allah made falsehood uncomfortable. They asked for a new life, and Allah ended the old one. But because it did not arrive wrapped in the packaging they expected, they called it silence. My beloved, do not be so fixed on your own version of the answer that you fail to recognize Allah's version. Your imagination is small compared to Allah's wisdom. Your plan is limited compared to Allah's knowledge. Your timing is emotional compared to Allah's perfect decree. Allah can answer through ease. Allah can answer through difficulty. Allah can answer through people. Allah can answer by removing people. Allah can answer through giving. Allah can answer through withholding. Allah can answer in the world. Allah can save the reward for a day when you will need it more than you need anything today. So when unexpected openings begin to appear, be grateful. When a small mercy arrives, notice it. When your heart becomes lighter, thank Allah. When you are redirected, pay attention. When you are protected, even painfully, trust. When help comes from a direction you never imagined, remember that your dua was not lost. It was traveling through wisdom. And sometimes, before the big answer comes, Allah sends small signs to keep your heart alive. A little ease after hardship, a little peace after crying, a little clarity after confusion, a little strength after weakness, a little hope after emptiness. These are not random. These are reminders. Allah is near. Allah is aware. Allah is managing what you cannot manage. But now listen carefully, because this part can save your heart from a dangerous misunderstanding. These signs are not certificates. No one can say with arrogance, my dua is definitely accepted exactly how I want because I saw this or that. We do not control the unseen. We do not speak on behalf of Allah without knowledge. We do not turn feelings into guarantees, but we do take hope from mercy. We do recognize the signs of Allah's kindness. We do understand that sincere dua is never wasted. We do know that Allah is generous. We do know that Allah hears. We do know that Allah responds in the way that is best, at the time that is best, with the wisdom that only He fully knows. So if you are making dua right now, do not stop. Even if you feel tired, even if the answer is delayed, even if your voice trembles, even if your eyes are dry because you have cried too much already, even if people say, move on, even if your own mind says, what is the point? Do not stop calling upon Allah. The point is not only what you receive, the point is who you become while calling upon Him. Dua is not just a request, dua is a relationship. Dua is the servant admitting, I cannot do this without you. Dua is the heart returning to its owner. Dua is the soul refusing to bow to despair. Dua is your proof that even when the world feels closed, you still believe there is a door above the sky, and never be embarrassed by repeated dua. Some people will say, "You are still praying for that?" Yes, because Allah never gets tired of hearing you. People get tired of your pain. Allah does not. People get annoyed when you repeat your story. Allah already knows the story and still welcomes you. People may shame your tears. Allah knows the sincerity inside them. People may say you are too emotional. Allah knows the wound they never saw. So speak to Allah. Speak with respect. Speak with humility. Speak with trust. Ask for what is good. Ask to be protected from what is harmful. Ask for a heart that accepts His decree. Ask for eyes that recognize His mercy. Ask for patience that does not turn bitter. Ask for blessings that bring you closer to Him, not farther away. And when the answer comes, do not forget the one who gave it. Because sometimes people make dua in hardship, then forget Allah in comfort. They beg during the storm, then become heedless when the sun comes out. Do not be that person. If Allah heals you, use your healed heart to worship Him better. If Allah grants you marriage, make that marriage a path to His pleasure. If Allah gives you wealth, spend with gratitude and integrity. If Allah gives you status, remain humble. If Allah gives you relief, remember those still waiting. If Allah gives you peace, do not use it to return to sins that once destroyed you. A blessing becomes dangerous when it makes you forget the giver. So ask Allah not only to answer your dua, but to make you worthy of the answer. Ask Him to give you what is good and keep your heart clean after receiving it. Because some people are ruined by what they begged for. They prayed for money, then the money made them arrogant. They prayed for beauty, then beauty made them proud. They prayed for marriage, then marriage made them neglect Allah. They prayed for success, then success made them look down on others. So the wise believer does not only ask, Allah give me. The wise believer asks, Allah, give me what brings me closer to you and protect me from anything that takes me away from you. That is a dua of maturity. That is a dua of someone who understands life. Because the greatest acceptance is not merely receiving what your hands asked for. The greatest acceptance is receiving what saves your soul. Now think about your life. Think about the du'as you made years ago. Some were answered exactly. Some were delayed. Some were replaced. Some you are now grateful were not given. There are things you once cried for that you now thank Allah for keeping away. There are people you once begged to stay that you now realize would have damaged your peace. There are doors you once wanted desperately that would have taken you into a version of yourself you would not recognize. And there are blessings you have today that came from paths you never planned. Does that not teach you something? Allah was wise before you understood. Allah was kind before you recognized it. Allah was protecting you while you were questioning Him. So why doubt Him now? The same Allah who carried you through yesterday will carry you through today. The same Allah who saved you from what you did not see can save you from what you fear now. The same Allah who answered before can answer again. And even if the answer is different from what you expect, it will never be empty of wisdom. My beloved sister, if your dua has not appeared yet, do not assume it has been rejected. Maybe it is being prepared. Maybe you are being prepared. Maybe the people connected to it are being moved. Maybe the circumstances are being arranged. Maybe the harm is being removed first. Maybe the reward is being saved for a place where you will cry from gratitude when you see it. You see one page, Allah knows the whole book. You see one scene, Allah knows the ending. You see one closed door, Allah knows the protection behind it. You see one delay, Allah knows the perfect time. So keep asking, but ask with a heart that trusts. Work, but do not worship your work. Plan, but do not worship your plan. Love, but do not worship people. Hope, but do not let hope become arrogance. Cry, but do not let tears become accusations against Allah. Wait, but do not wait in despair. Wait in worship. Wait in growth. Wait in gratitude. Wait in preparation. Because while you are waiting for the answer may already be changing you. And sometimes, when the final mercy arrives, you will realize the waiting was not empty. The waiting taught you patience. The waiting cleaned your heart. The waiting exposed false attachments. The waiting protected your future. The waiting brought you closer to Allah. The waiting made the blessing sweeter. And one day, what confused you will make you whisper, Allah knew. Allah always knew. So tonight, before you sleep, do not count only what is missing. Count the signs of mercy you ignored. You are still breathing. You are still being given time. You still have the ability to repent. You still have a heart that wants Allah. You still have a tongue that can call upon Him. You still have a chance to change. You still have unseen doors that have not opened yet. You still have a Lord whose generosity is greater than your imagination. And if you have even one tear left, give it to Allah. If you have even one request left, raise it to Allah. If you have even one broken piece left inside you, place it before Allah. Because people may not know what to do with your brokenness, but Allah can turn it into beauty. People may throw away what is damaged, but Allah restores hearts. People may close doors, but Allah creates paths. People may forget you, but Allah never forgets. People may misunderstand your silence, but Allah hears what silence contains. So do not walk away from dua. Do not let delay make you cold. Do not let unanswered questions make you disrespectful. Do not let pain convince you that Allah is far. Allah is nearer to you than the comfort you are chasing. Allah is more merciful than the people you are waiting for. Allah is more powerful than the problem frightening you. Allah is more generous than the door you think you need. And when Allah decides to open, no one can close. When Allah decides to give, no one can prevent. When Allah decides to heal, no wound is too deep. When Allah decides to raise, no enemy can bury you. When Allah decides to replace, what comes next can make you forget the weight of what left. So make your dua tonight differently. Not with panic, not with hopelessness, not with anger, but with the quiet certainty of a servant who knows, my Lord heard me before I spoke, understood me before I explained, and will answer me in the way that is best for my life, my faith, and my final return to Him. And when your heart whispers, what if nothing happens? Answer it with faith. Something is already happening. Maybe not in the place you are staring at. Maybe not in the person you are waiting for. Maybe not in the timeline you demanded. But something is happening in the unseen. Something is happening in your heart. Something is being protected. Something is being prepared. Something is being redirected. Something is being written with mercy. So hold on. The dua you made in tears did not disappear. The prayer you whispered in the darkness was not ignored. The patience you showed while breaking was not unseen. The hope you kept alive when everything looked impossible was not wasted. Allah heard you. Allah knows you. Allah sees you. And whether He gives you what you asked for, gives you something better, removes a harm, delays it for wisdom, or saves the reward for the day you need it most, your dua with Allah is never lost. So walk forward with a calmer heart. Not because everything is solved, but because everything is in the hands of the one who never makes a mistake. And the most beautiful sign of all is this: after everything you have been through, your heart is still saying Allah. That means the door is still open. That means mercy is still near. That means your story is not finished. And perhaps the answer you are waiting for is already on its way, wrapped in a wisdom so beautiful that when it arrives, you will not only thank Allah for giving it, you will thank Him for making you wait until the perfect moment.